Okay, so last but not least is entrepreneurship. So this is literally the last lesson we will be talking about for agriculture for the matric year. So let's get it off. So the first thing is entrepreneur basically is a person who identifies an opportunity. They see there's a need somewhere in the community or the environment. People want something. So then they get their resources together and then they start a business, taking on the risks that could be involved, but mainly in the hope of making a profit. So that's basically what an entrepreneur is. It could be an agricultural one, could be a normal business entrepreneur. An entrepreneur in general is somebody who sees there's a lack in the market. He does some research and realizes what he needs to do, maybe some resources he needs, and then he starts his business, and again, he wants to make a profit because nobody wants to break even. The point is to make money out of something. So there are some important aspects of being an entrepreneur or having to do with entrepreneurship itself is, like we said, identify opportunity. Usually they are innovative, creative, they realize there's a need in the environment. They can then create their own business. They don't mind taking risks. They also aim obviously to make a profit, and then eventually they are able to manage their own business. So personal characteristics then of the entrepreneurship, it's a lot like the previous slide, but this specifically is more to do with their character. So generally they are passionate and positive. Here I want to digress and say not all entrepreneurs are positive, because sometimes they do come across things that don't work, but then again they should usually be able to go on despite any setbacks. So they're motivated. They would be a better one to say. Then also they use strong leadership. They like to be in control because, again, if it's their business, they want to know what goes on, and they must control everything that happens. Then also usually they are independent, and they also set high goals for themselves. So they are high achievers, and we already mentioned that they are usually risk takers. So there are a couple of phases of the entrepreneurial process. Here on the slide they give 6. In your textbooks they generally talk about 4 main ones, and the 4 main ones I have identified here in bold. Technically all the things are together, but in the textbook, like phase 1 or phase 2, they take us one phase. So this depends on how you study it. But the main thing is to remember the bold ones. So the first thing is to identify the opportunities, and then they evaluate the opportunity. I mean, technically, yeah, same thing. So they identify this need in the environment. Then they start to develop their business plan, because they have to have the plan to know, okay, what resources do I need? Where am I going to get the money to develop this business? All those things. They have to take pen to paper and then try and make a plan how to do this business. Then they determine the resources that they would require, maybe gather the resources to start getting ready to manage the business. Then the 5th one is they start managing it now. They have their resources, maybe they already got money, got a loan somewhere from the bank, or they got an investor, so they have money and they start buying whatever they need, and they're starting producing maybe what they need to produce to sell, or maybe they have gathered all the things they need to deliver a service. And then also they start growing their business. So the agribusiness plan. So this thing is basically a document that sets out the objectives, the target market, meaning is it older people, younger people. If it's an agribusiness plan, most probably farmers are being targeted, or maybe if you're the farmer, maybe you're targeting, could be other farmers, maybe you want to sell some livestock to other people, or it could be just the consumers in general, townspeople in general, if you want to sell food. Then also figuring out what their needs are, and you also have to figure out the financial requirements of your business. So the document then sets out all these information, again, pen on paper. So then your reasons for drawing up your business plan in the agricultural sector mainly is to map out the direction of the business, meaning you have to have your plan, know what the goal is and the point is of the business. And secondly, setting out your objectives, so the main thing that you're focusing on, or the main things you're focusing on. Then attracting investors, because again, this business plan is a good way to try and get people to also invest in your business, so then you get money, and obviously investors usually they expect to get money back from the venture. But yeah, investors usually are very good to help you start a business. Then lastly, obtaining financing, technically the same thing, but here financing, they just mainly mean usually getting a loan from the bank. Okay, so then reasons for drawing up your business plan in the sectors. Same thing actually as the previous one. Mainly, it helps with your financial details, helps with define the goals. So why I put pen to paper is so that you know as the manager, or maybe some people working under you, what the point of the business is, and maybe the do's and do nots of the business. Also outlines again here, roles and responsibilities of what the individuals have to do that works for you. Provide also time frames for completion of projects or activities. Maybe also put their working hours and maybe salary advices or salaries for the people working for you. That should also be on paper. Then provides guidelines for decision making and to compare progress, but also provide clear strategies and objectives to follow. So here at the bottom it just says SMART. So usually again your business plan has to be specific. It must be measurable. So again, something like the resources must be obtainable. Measurable also is like the amount of money you're going to need. So this has to be a specific number allocated to the finances or whatever you're doing. Must be achievable, must be relevant, meaning to the times we live in, and then time bound, because we don't have all the time in the world. Certain projects have to be done in certain times. So then your format or the layout of an agri-business plan. Let me put it this way, you guys will not have to draw from scratch a business plan, but they can either give you maybe something like this, showing you different areas of the business plan, and they can ask you questions about it, meaning why should there be a summary of your business, or why should there be a summary of what your business is about in this document type thing. So before that though, just remember all the different points that could be inside a business plan. So the main thing just is a document. The obvious one is a title page. Title page maybe tells you the name of the business, maybe the logo of the business, who's the owner of the business. So all those information on the title. Content just tells you what's inside right over here. Then you've got usually a summary, and this is for anybody, especially for investors. If they read it, they immediately get a sense of what this business is about, and then immediately can decide, do I like this or not? Am I willing to maybe invest money? And then the business objectives, and then also the business concept, meaning what product are you trying to sell, or what type of service are you going to give to people? Then also the marketing plan, how you're going to make people aware of your product. Then also the production plan, how you're going to make your product. Then also human resources. This usually has to do with labor, meaning other people can work for you, their salaries, how much, what's their time frame, how long will they work for you every day, and also if there's any issues with them, what is your plan as manager to make sure that everybody is happy and healthy and so on working for you. And then lastly, actually the most important one is the financial plan, because again, you have to have figured out as manager where you're going to get your money from and how much certain things will cost. This is especially important for if you're going to lend money from a bank, because they will want to know how much money will be needed by you for this business. And yeah, people don't want to pay more than they have to. So for investors and for banks, they want to know the exact number that is required. So then problems usually that are encountered when drawing up a business plan. Then the main thing is, with any document, if you read it and there's spelling errors, or if there are no points or headings, or anything that looks sloppy, or that is usually bad, and people think it looks very informal and not it looks like the person that wrote it isn't very serious about their business. So poor writing. And then also an incomplete plan, meaning any of the previous slides information like a title page and so on is not present. That could be bad. Then also if they didn't mention the budget or cash flow at all, meaning it wasn't included, or maybe if there were errors in it, and also any goals that are unrealistic. If you didn't identify any possible risks that you may encounter, if there's poor research done, if you didn't mention that you may have some competition, then also bad research, we did mention that for poor research as well, leaving gaps, lack of information, just by the way, also too much information is also a bad thing, meaning you're writing too much and you're not getting to the point, because most people don't like reading. Then also insufficient technical detail, and overambitious or unrealistic. Okay, this goes back to the goals actually. So, and then lastly is the SWOT analysis. Usually your SWOT analysis is also inside your business plan in the document. So basically SWOT just stands for, the S stands for strengths, the W for weaknesses, the O for opportunities, and T for threats. So this has to do with your business, meaning what strengths does your business have? This usually is maybe people that work for you, or maybe you yourself as the manager, you have certain skills, and that is a strength to your business. You are unique and you have specific skills where you can produce your product, or maybe you can deliver a certain service, and only you can do this. And here I want to use the example of a hairdresser, because we used that in class. So as the manager or the entrepreneur, you can do certain braids, you can cut people's hair, and only you have a certain style of doing it. That's your strength. Your weaknesses, though, is maybe you as the hairdresser, you don't know specific braids that maybe one of your competitors can do, so that is a weakness. But again, luckily that weakness you can maybe rectify. You can actually go on a course and learn how to do that specific weakness, or learn, sorry, that specific braid. So your strengths and your weaknesses you can control. The manager has control over it. It's an internal problem, I'm going to say. Any strengths, it's internal, you can control it. Any weaknesses you can control generally as well. But two external forces is usually opportunities and threats, because they come from outside. Threats usually are like competition. Competition is not within your business, it comes from outside. Any other businesses in your competition, so there's your threats. Then opportunities usually come from the environment as well. Maybe one opportunity would be that, again with the hairdressers, maybe there was a workshop somewhere, or I don't know, let me put it this way. One of the opportunities would be that it is matric farewell and everybody's hair has to be done in a specific week. There's an opportunity. You're a hairdresser and you're able to do this thing. So there's a need in the environment again, or just the specific event, there's an opportunity and you can take it. So it usually comes from outside. So opportunities and threats are external. Your strengths and weaknesses are usually internal in the business. And usually this question is like 5 marks max, really, if they ask you guys about the SWOT. So this will be for a specific example, a specific business. You'll just have to read the scenario and then talk about it. Okay, and lastly, I just want to say, if you actually watched all the videos that I posted on for agriculture, well done, pat yourself in the back if you actually watched all of them right through. And yeah, just best of luck for the rest of the year, and hope all these videos actually did help. So that is the end from my side.